This is the biggest mistake most of us make when setting up our craft space. Hey y'all, I'm Elisa, the Scrappy Wife behind ScrappyWife.com, and today we're going to talk about the biggest mistake that people make when they are setting up their craft room or craft space. They are missing an underutilized area of the room that will really increase the visual inspiration and, of course, the storage and organization in the space. So, if you want to hear what it is, stay tuned. I have taken a look at many different craft spaces, and I've set up multiple craft rooms in my lifetime. And when people show me their space and ask me what they can do, what are some suggestions, what are they missing, probably the number one area that people overlook is the vertical space that is available in their craft rooms. Vertical space is a huge area that is often underutilized, whether you own your home, whether you are renting, whether you are working in a dining room or in your own bedroom or basement. There is almost always vertical space that you can take advantage of in order to inspire, in order to display, and in order to organize your craft supplies in your craft room. So, today, I want to take you and show you some of the ways that I utilize vertical space within my craft room and hopefully give you some suggestions. Whether you have a big space or small space, I guarantee, take a moment, look around. There is some vertical space that you can utilize. Let's check it out. Let's start out with just an overview of my craft studio. I have been in here for a couple of years now. I love this space. Yes, I have a very large space. I am very lucky to be in here. But even with it being so large, I have had to be creative in some of my solutions so that I can take full advantage of all of the vertical space that is available, even though I'm in a basement and the ceilings are not very high. So it's not like there is unlimited vertical space. I need to be very thoughtful and careful with how I plan out what is going to go where. So let's take a closer look. One of my first suggestions for taking advantage of vertical space would be shelves like this. This is kind of like a plate holder, or you might think of it as almost like a spice rack shelf. I bought these from Walmart. They have them available on Amazon. There's lots of different versions of this available. Here's what I like about it. It's very shallow. We don't want to fill our vertical space solid with bookshelves that come out here. That starts to feel very closed in. When you are taking advantage of your vertical space, you don't need this much room all the way up because that makes your space feel smaller. When I use more shallow shelving like this on my vertical space, I can still display beautiful books. It's organized, it's inspiring because these are some of my favorite books and journals that I go to over and over again. But it's not coming in at me. It's not taking up space in my room that is making my room feel smaller or feel cluttered. These type of shallow shelves are fabulous in your space, and you can stack them really high. I suggest them all of the time for smaller spaces because you can't bring in big bulky furniture. If you have a small space, you cannot take in a bunch of different bookcases that take up every ounce of wall space. That's just going to make your space feel even smaller. You can take advantage of vertical space with some more shallow options like this from IKEA. Like I said, it's like just a really shallow picture display shelf available multiple different places. I've seen them at Hobby Lobby. I've seen them on Amazon. Take a look and see, do you have some wall space where you might be able to add 1, 2, 3 of these different links that allow you to take some of your supplies off of the bookcases, off of the bookshelves, have them in more of a displayed format, and relieve some space on that really high traffic real estate area of your bookshelves. That's a really valuable space. This might be a way to alleviate some of that clutter on your main bookshelves. Here is another example of a very shallow shelf that I used. I have these go all the way up to the ceiling. These are actually designed for nail polish. However, they work fabulous for washi tape, for sprays, for paints, anything that is a little bit more shallow. It's taking up a ton of wall space up here. It is taking a lot of desk space. It's saving me a lot of desk space, I guess I should say, because I don't have to have so many different drawer sets, so many different bins. I'm able to see my supplies, but it's not intruding into the room any more than a couple of inches, which is just so great. So looking for shallow shelving that you can use to extend some of your organization space, some of your shelf space that goes, you can see this one goes all the way up to the ceiling. Can I reach up there? I technically can because I'm 6 feet tall, but I don't need that stuff up top very often. All right, so that actually brings up a really good point. I am very tall. I am 6 feet tall, so I can reach very high on shelves and bookcases and things like that. I realize that not everyone is 6 feet tall. Some of you have some more challenges when you are reaching up high. It doesn't mean that you can't take advantage of that space. It just means that you have to be more strategic about what you are storing up high. Don't put things out of your reach that you are wanting on a daily basis. Again, when I organize my washi tape, I put the tapes that I'm less likely to use, I put them up top anyway. Those might be very specific themes or seasons. When I'm storing things in my closet, which I'll show you in just a second, the things that are up higher are the things that I'm not grabbing for. I only need them a few times a year. You have to be strategic about that. If you can't reach all of the vertical space in your room that you are trying to take advantage of, you might be storing out of season supplies up there. You might be storing things, completed projects, just things that you're not needing touch access to at all times. You can still take advantage of that vertical space. You can still use it to maximize the storage possibilities in your space. Just be strategic about what you are putting where. I mentioned my closet earlier. This is actually a closet that is in the basement of my craft studio, but we took out the closet doors. We took out all remnants of it actually being a closet and added shelving. I worked really hard as far as the measurements to figure out how many shelves can I add to really take full advantage of the space. You can see there's not a ton of wasted space there at the top. The shelves are laid out so that the distance between shelves is really taken advantage of. Is it packed solid each and every place? No, but it takes full advantage with the large baskets up here, the large bins, full advantage of the space that I have available. Again, things that I don't use very often are up high. This is like a collection of former happy planners from when I was on the squad, something that probably needs to be destashed. Then I have seasonal project bins, projects that I'm saving for another time. Just the things I don't use very often get put up top. The things that I more need touch access to, my printer papers, all my scrapbook papers, things for Patreon. Those are the things that are at eye level or arm level for me. Now, part of my business that I run out of my craft studio is selling planner inserts, planner covers, planner dividers, all of that fun stuff. And so I realized this isn't something that everyone has to store in their craft areas or in their craft studios, but I do have a lot of stock. I have a lot of different areas that I'm storing actual just paper and planner inserts and all of that stuff. When I was choosing how I was going to store those, I definitely took advantage of the space available vertically. I measured how tall this bump out was. I found a shelf that would fit under here that I would still be able to add things on top of. It's all about filling all the way up. This piece right here, you can see I stacked two pieces on top of each other. It would have been really easy for me to just consider this as my primary storage, this piece right here from IKEA, and think, well, that's taking up that space. However, I looked over and saw, you know what? There is a lot of space in this corner. How can I maximize this space Well, one of these file folder holders that you get is a mail slot or mail organizer that you can get for a classroom space. I picked it up, I turned it on its side, and I took full advantage again of the space right here so that I could extend this up. It wasn't about getting a whole new bookcase because I love these sliding doors in this. Like, this was something I loved, but I knew I needed more, and I knew I needed to go up in order to maximize the storage in this area. All right, let's talk for a second about renting. So many of you have told me you love the idea of taking up vertical space or utilizing vertical space, but you rent. You can't install shelving on the wall like I have because you don't want to poke all those holes in the wall. You'll lose a deposit, and I completely understand that. There are a couple of things that you can do that will still help you maximize the space. First of all, command hooks are your friends. I use command hooks in my space even because they allow you to kind of create hooks to create almost your own pegboard system in a way, in kind of a weird functional way, to really take advantage of some of that space that you can maximize in your craft space. So they have command hooks for all kinds of things, ones with actual hook, command strips that are really powerful and really strong that will allow you to put things on the wall but not destroy the wall. So consider those as well. The other thing I want you to consider are bookcases, but sometimes you might want like a staggered bookcase, meaning stacking one on top of the other, like I had over in the corner of my craft room, where you almost get the impression that the bookcase on top is floating shelves of some sort, something a little bit more shallow, gives you that same impression. You can still maximize that space. You can still consider the vertical space in your room, even if you're renting. You just have to think a little bit outside the box. Another one of my shallow storage solutions that allows me to see supplies without adding a big bulky bookcase that go all the way up. These are towel bars with S hooks where I display my stencils. I keep them organized. Binder rings are for sure one of my favorite tools within my craft room because you can see I can pull off a whole set of stencils ready to go, and then I just hook it back on. It's just fabulous. And you can organize all kinds of things. Consider those same little mason jars we saw on the pegboard. You could attach those to these as well to organize a lot of different supplies going all the way up to your ceiling, utilizing the space that you have. Here is another storage solution that I picked out specifically so that it would go all the way up to the ceiling. This is a vintage ladder that I picked up from a thrift store. I added acrylic fronts to the different rung areas, and I use it to store my vinyl, and it's fabulous because it does go all the way up to the ceiling, so it takes full advantage of that wall space, but I can see all the vinyl I have. It's very shallow, so it does not intrude into the room too much, but it is visually very stunning and functionally very organized. It's been a great solution in my space for sure. All right, that's it. Vertical, vertical, vertical. Take advantage of all of that vertical space. Choose some solutions that don't necessarily intrude into the room, but that give you the visually stunning display that is also really functional in the long run. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me know, take a look around your space. Can you find vertical space that you could possibly use, or even vertical space that you could use better? Let me know down below. What are some of your favorite vertical space saving solutions? I would love to hear from you. I want to give a huge shout out to all of my Patreon members. Thank you all so much for all of your support. All of you, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider hitting that subscribe button. It helps me out so much when you are subscribed to this channel. So if you'll take a second and hit that subscribe button, it would mean the world. All right. I hope that you have a fabulous day. And as always, keep it creative.